There are some amazing things that happened in the year 1917 AD that I find fascinating. Jerusalem was under Turkish rule in 1917 when the British Army came against the city. The British commander who led the troops was General Allenby, who also happened to be a born-again Christian. Regarding the capture of Jerusalem, W.T.F. Jarrod, writing in Our Great Heritage, says, "Before General Allenby came to Jerusalem, the Turks were convinced that the holy city never could be taken, because it had been predicted that unless the waters of the Nile flowed into Palestine, the Turks would hold on to Jerusalem. As our army crossed the desert, our engineers laid a water pipe from the Nile right across the desert, and when near Jerusalem, they connected it with the holy city of Jerusalem. The Turks saw the fulfilling of their own prophecy, the waters of the Nile mingling with the waters around them, and they knew all was lost. Also, an old Arab prophecy foretold that Jerusalem would one day be delivered by the hand of a prophet of God. It has been suggested that General Allenby's name, translated into Arabic, is Allenby, which means prophet of God. When that British army was approaching the holy city, General Allenby saw that it might be necessary to shell it, and he cabled to the War Cabinet in the UK for definite instructions. In reply, he was told to use his own judgment. He was not satisfied and communicated directly to the King of England. The King's reply was very short but very much to the point. It was, "Pray about it." General Allenby did so, and as he arrived at the gates of the city, it surrendered unconditionally, without a shot being fired or a drop of blood being shed within its holy walls. With heads uncovered in reverence to the holy city, the British Army entered the city singing hymns and taking possession. No single incident during the Great War stirred the world as much as the fall of Jerusalem. It had been waited and prayed for by the Jews and Christians alike. Allenby had also written pamphlets and had them dropped over Jerusalem from the newly invented airplanes. The pamphlets he had written were translated into Arabic, and he signed his name, which read Allenby in Arabic. Translated, this means prophet of God. As World War I neared its end, Jerusalem surrendered to the British forces on December the 9th, 1917, in the first year of Hanukkah, the day which celebrates the recapture of the temple by Judas Maccabeus from the heathen Seleucids in 165 BC. Here's another amazing fact about the year 1917 and the city of Jerusalem. It's from a prophecy found in Daniel chapter 12, verse 12. "Blessed is the one who waits for and reaches the end of the 1335 days." Daniel 12:12. Did you realize that you are blessed to be envied? You are blessed for the 1335 days that Daniel prophesied in Daniel chapter 12 has come to pass 104 years ago. These 135 days mentioned here in Daniel can only be understood when you apply the principle of 1 day equals 1 year to them, which would make this the year 1335. See my message on understanding Bible code. Not much happened in the year 1335 AD in the European calendar, but there was something very important that happened in the Mohammedan calendar in 1335. It was that year that Jerusalem was freed from Gentile rule after 2,520 years of oppression. The late Dr. H. Grattan Guinness, who was an outstanding Bible professor in the 1800s, wrote in his book Light of the Last Days, 1888 AD, that those who live to see the year 1917 will have reached one of the most important, perhaps the most momentous, of the terminal years of crisis. He was right, for it was in this year of 1917 AD that Jerusalem was finally set free from Gentile rule after 2,520 years. Earlier in the year of 1917, Jerusalem was under Turkish rule, and they used the Muslim dating system for everything. The coins minted in the Middle East were all dated this way. You might say, what has the year 1917 got to do with the year 1335? The year 1917 was also the year 1335 on the Mohammedan calendar. The Muslims had a dating system that went back to 622 AD, which was the year of the Hijra, or flight, when Muhammad fled from Mecca to Medina. They had this date imprinted on their coins each year after this. The year 1917 AD was the 1335th lunar year since the flight took place. It's also interesting to note that after the year 1917, this system of dating was dropped and the Muslims adopted the European calendar. The prophecy was now fulfilled and the precise number of days specified in Daniel 12:12 had come to pass. There was a coin minted that year that had AH 1335 in Arabic on one side and 1917 AD on the other. I actually have some of these coins, for many of the soldiers who went to the Middle East in the First World War came back to New Zealand with them as mementos.